Welcome to the Stone and Star Art Studio. Today we are going to make two beautiful Christmas cards with some green and red florals. So you'll need some watercolors, watercolor paper, a pencil, eraser, and a pen. So let's get started. So on our scrap paper, I would just want to talk a little bit about the shapes we're going to be using today. So whenever it comes to watercolor, you want to pay very close attention, like I said last time, about the, what do they call it, a surface tension. So you want to pay attention to what parts of your paper are wet, and being very careful about, and being very intentional about what you get wet and what you don't. So today we're going to be doing some Christmas florals with our watercolors. So a lot of the shapes we'll be using would be like in the shape of a leaf. And then you can do it in all different shapes. So if I wanted something to look like this, I'd have to be very careful about where I put my water so that it ends up looking the way I want it to. And then we'll also do some red berries, and within those berries we want to try to preserve, like I said last time, we want to, how did I put it, protect the white. So like if I want this to be a white spot, I need to make sure that that absolutely does not get wet. Let me admit some more people. Okay, so just kind of be conscious of that as we're doing it. So first, let's look a little bit at the colors we're going to be using, and we'll just do some practices before we kind of build our own little illustration. So we want to have plenty of water, and we're going to collect, let's see, we definitely want a really dark green. I'm still new to these colors. I'm not sure which one that looks, can't tell if it's a blue green or a green green. That's a green green. Okay, so we want like a good rich forest green for sure. And you can do like an olive green too if you want, because we're gonna kind of let them mix a little bit. And like I've said before, we want the watercolor to be able to do a little bit of whatever it wants to do. Like we want to feel like we're in control. It's kind of like parenting or something, right? You know, you want a little control, but you don't want to be a helicopter parent, otherwise they won't get to live to their full potential. So that's what we want to do. We want to let the watercolor live up to its full potential, if that makes any sense. And we'll definitely want like a nice little lime green kind of color. Let me get that from over here. So you can just go ahead and make a lot of it. I like to make a good amount so that I don't have to go and try to do it in the middle, because watercolor is very time sensitive as far as drying and mixing and everything. So you can always add more water to this later, or more color to it later. It's easier than stopping everything and building your colors all over again. Okay, so I've got a good lime. I've got this, I don't know, it is kind of blue-green. Let's see what this one is. Ooh, this is like a good green. I'll use this. Or sometimes if I want to build it up quickly, I can use a spray bottle. That's an easier way to do it. Okay. So once you have your greens, then think about your reds. So for reds, you can kind of go a little more on the cranberry pink side if you want, or you can stick more to like the maroon brown side. But I would definitely have like a darker one. I'm doing it again. Spray. Like a darker red and like a lighter red. You can even have three if you want. There's nothing wrong with mixing a bunch of colors with watercolor, as long as they're in the same family or next to each other on the color wheel, because they will blend nicely and look lovely together. Just as you know, if it's on opposite ends of the color wheel and they blend together, you'll end up with like a mucky brown swampy color. And usually that is not the desired color. Although some people really like that. Ooh, so this is like a magenta. That's pretty. And then you could even use like a red and mix it with a brown. That would give you a nice deep maroon also. So whatever colors you happen to have available. Okay, so I've got my Christmas colors, and if you want to do a different color scheme, you're welcome to do that. So a dark red from a regular red, I would recommend trying, just kind of experiment a little bit because every palette's a little bit different. You could try adding a little bit of brown to it, and you might be able to, even if it starts to get a little bit too mucky, add maybe a little tiny bit of purple to it just to give like a full richness. So that's one of those things you can do. I would stay away from black if you can, just because like a lot of traditional watercolorists don't use black. But you do whatever you need to do. Okay, so let's just kind of practice some shapes just a little bit. So you want to have a brush that ideally has kind of a pointed tip when it's wet, just a little bit, because that'll make it easier for us to do some shapes. And let's do some leaf shapes first. So I'm going to keep it really simple, just this kind of shape. And I'm going to start off with the light green, and then I'll add in dark green in a second. So I start off really light, keeping the point at the edge of the very tip of the paper. Then I push down to make it wide, and then bring it back in again. And then I can kind of bring out the size if I want. So in a way, watercolor is a little bit like calligraphy in that you have to pay attention to what your brush is doing, how much pressure you're putting on the paper, that kind of thing. So I have my lime, and then I can add just a little bit of the dark green, and then you get a cool little effect there. I can even bring that out into the stem. And you can move it just a little bit. And so kind of leaving it right here where it is, you end up with this really interesting texture. On the next one, we'll do the same shape, this leaf shape, except for we're gonna try to preserve or protect our white in the center. So we'll have that vein, I guess, going through the center of the leaf. I'm going to do what I did last time and cut out a card-shaped object. Let's see, like that. Maybe. So I'm going to make it kind of a clear outline so that we can see. And I'm really guessing at the proportions for this, but a lot of times people like to do 5x7 cards. So I'm going to make a Christmas card for probably my dad. And so whenever you paint, you want to leave it flat. Don't fold it until you're totally done. Here are the final products, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I hope you made some beautiful cards, and keep watching for more tutorials. Thanks for watching!